Hey there, fellow adventure riders. Thanks for tuning in. In this video I'm going to ride portions of the Washington and the Idaho backcountry discovery route on my DR650. I'll be camping all along the way and having a great adventure, including nearly running out of gas in the backcountry of Idaho. Also, I met Pete and Ashley of Moscow Moto out on a ride of their own. Serendipitous things that would happen when you just get out there and do your own ride, you know. Do your own adventure. Get out there and do it. So if you're thinking of either one of these BDRs, recommend them. Beautiful time. Had a great time. I also love to read your comments and insights on rides of your own. So subscribe, give it the old thumbs up, and get an adventure going of your own. I'm going to be riding more out west this summer of 2022. More videos to come. So subscribe and I'll see you out there. Well, I'm on the WABDR. It's early afternoon. Been riding some beautiful roads. I'm just getting close to Packwood and came across these beautiful little side mountain streams coming down. Plenty of water. Yep, having a great time. So I joined the BDR in the north half of Section 1 on smooth roads, Walnut Lake, and views of Mount Adams. Then we bombed into Packwood for a burger lunch, and then it was out joining Section 2. And soon was on Bethel Ridge and much more challenging terrain. There is an alternate, easier route along Bethel Ridge, but I elected not to take that, and soon the views that were afforded at the top were well worth the challenge. A view looking back down on Rimrock Lake where we had been earlier before the climb, and then it was time for camp. Well, here I am. It's a Sunday morning, August 23rd, I think. Bike's warming up. Head down to about 70 miles to Ellensburg. And this is my first beautiful viewpoint of the morning. Mount Rainier in its snowy glory, the morning sun hitting the general Yakima Valley. Early on in this morning's ride, I came across another rider, Jason, out of San Diego on his KTM790. We both had much the same agenda going forward, so we started traveling together. Hit a Baby Head Hill. I went down about 3 times. We have a BMW stuck at the bottom right now. We ended up having to walk it. Eventually made it to the top and I'm beat. Still got about 15 miles to go to Ellensburg. Down Beehi Reservoir Road, almost to the reservoir above Wenatchee. Left Ellensburg this morning.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
You want a bite to eat now, or?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Let's go get a bite to eat, then we'll split.
Okay.
I'll follow you.
So we're finishing section 3. We'll grab a bite of lunch in Wenatchee, then over to Kashmir and head up the section 4 over to Chelan. I have a very fiddly old Chinese knockoff camera, so portions are missing. Sometimes I thought it was running, sometimes it was, and sometimes it wasn't. Wildfires are burning out of control in the north section of the BDR, so our plan is to complete section 4 to Chelan, then hit the slab to Spokane, spend the night, and then join the Idaho BDR.
We're on the Idaho BDR, not far out of Clark Fork, on our way to Wallace. I just love to camp right here by this stream and bridge. Well, Jason's up ahead of me. I better get rolling. We just came down this road. It's been a beautiful ride so far. Yep, stop for a little break. Old Ranger Station, not in use anymore, but a historic site. Buried here in the deep in the mountains. I think it's the Selkirk Mountains of Idaho. There's a river or stream right over those bushes, and then an airstrip. Some lucky ranger got stationed here at some point. Wouldn't it be a blast to fly in here and then stay at the cabins that were right across there and we just saw? That's pretty cool. Great country we live in.
It was late August as we completed this particular adventure through Idaho. We were fortunate to have great weather, and the perennial fires that have plagued the Northwest and the western states weren't a problem on this journey so much. We had clear views as we traveled down through this lush part of the northern sections of the BDR. Waterways, plenty of places to camp. We enjoyed riding, staying out of each other's dust, and meeting up occasionally with one another to talk about what we'd seen, what we had ridden across. The roads are great, plenty of camping places, as I said.
Supplementing our water supply.
So this is our first campsite on the Idaho portion of our adventure ride. We were up the next morning and into the little historic town of Wallace for a great breakfast. Make sure you see that place. Lots of history there, some violent history regarding the silver mining. So leaving Wallace, we enter section 6 on the BDR, leaving section 7 southbound towards Avery. And this was the great scenery that we had to enjoy throughout the early part of the day here. Avery is a great little place to stop and resupply at the little grocery store, pick up some camp beverages, and have a little lunch. There's a little motel there also. Route 50 is the St. Joe Scenic Byway, and there is many gorgeous scenes along the river there if you want to travel in from St. Mary's on Route 50. Turning out of Avery, there was this group applauding us. I don't know whether they were happy to see us leave or just happy to be living in Avery. Our plan out of Avery was to arrive at Blue Cabin and hopefully be the only occupants there, even though it was early in the afternoon when we arrived. We were the only occupants, and we decided to stay, and it was a great choice. Had some visitors come through, a group of guys on their bikes having a great time of their own, and it was really fun to talk with them, listen and see their bikes, and spend the night at Blue Cabin.
Yeah.
Blue Cabin, as you probably know, is privately owned, and they are gracious enough to leave it open for free to anyone who comes, so make sure you leave it in good shape. We were out the next morning across the Dvorak Reservoir and on into Pierce, Idaho for lunch and the end of Section 6 and the start of Section 5 southbound. There's lots of logging activity to be aware of riding this section into Pierce, where we had lunch, and out of there we were soon finding ourselves on the famous Lolo Motorway, a highlight of any trip on the Idaho BDR. Lewis and Clark were lucky enough to have the Nez Perce traditional travelers of this route guide them through on their adventure to the west.
It's Saturday morning. Been on the trail a couple of 3 hours, headed to Loxa Lodge. Some smoke in the valleys now. Fires are somewhere. However, we're going the opposite direction and we're just exiting it. We've ridden it all evening, yesterday evening and all day this morning. We're headed down to Darby, Montana.
After Lolo Motorway, it's a highway run to Darby, where we had a good lunch, headed out for the start of the Magruder Corridor, finding a campsite now on Section 4 southbound. In the morning, we'll head up to the high country of the Magruder Corridor.
Well, here we are on the Magruder Corridor. Left camp this morning around 10. It's 1 o'clock now. We're at the Burnt Knob Lookout Tower cutoff. My bike was leaking gas around the fuel tank filler cap, and I thought I'd done something about it, but evidently it needed more attention. So Jason took his bike on up to the top of the lookout, and I decided I had enough excitement, I'll try to fix that gas link. So a nice Forest Service guy came by in his pickup truck and he gave me some flagging tape, which I can use like Teflon tape around the threads. So I'm carrying that with me, and we'll see if what I've done already fixes it. If not, I'll put that Forest Service Teflon tape on. Gonna have a little snack. Kind breakfast bar and an apple. I need a break and some water. What a view. Oh my goodness. What a goodness. Great time.
The Magruder Corridor is 105 miles of right-of-way through the Frank Church Wilderness area. There are no services and there are no bailouts between Elk City, Idaho and Connor, Montana, so be prepared. It's also very popular, and you can meet other riders and vehicles at any time. I had a side-by-side run me right up the embankment, and he never stopped and looked back. So pay attention, ride right, be careful out there. Exiting the Magruder Corridor southbound, a little pavement leads you right into Elk City, an eclectic throwback and very remote little town that has a gold mining history. Wonderful folks there we got to know and share stories. Stayed at the Riders Rest campground right in town. Showers, clean, towels provided. At this point, Jason needed to get back to San Diego. He had already been out a while. So we split, and I continued on the BDR alone. It was a wonderful time riding with him. Great memories. Out of Elk City, I'm now on Section 3 southbound, alone, solo, and I ran across Pete and Ashley of Moscow Moto luggage fame right here. Got to talk with them a while. We were both looking for a rider who supposedly had reported with a broken ankle. Neither one of us could find him. I was looking for a campsite right on the sandy beaches of this Salmon River. Looking forward to a nice, refreshing, cool bath there. And I did find a great spot and met a friend that we still stay in touch with. I call him Cowboy Don. He spent his life as a cowboy and a back high country outfitter, hunting elk and wrangling horses. He fixed up a dinner of steaks for me. We shared a brew and swapped stories. He lives in Idaho to this day. We stay in touch. And later he was a great savior of mine as I nearly ran out of gas up on Elk Summit. An outfitter got his pickup truck stuck in the sand trying to launch him and his client's boat from this spot. Well, it's Wednesday, September 2. I'm riding up French Creek Road from the lower Salmon River, and it's quite a switchback. Decent road though, but here's a little view of the switchbacks. I've already come up from down below there. It just keeps on going up there. Now I've reached the venerable old and famous bus on the Idaho BDR. Backcountry Adventure Motorsports. I know his channel on YouTube. Real good channel.
I've arrived at Bergdorf Hot Springs. Unfortunately, it's closed for the season. Closed for the whole year due to you know what that we shall not mention. A shame. I would have loved to have bathed in its hot springs. Steamboat Summit, elevation is 6,694 feet.
Here I'm arriving into the so-called ghost town of Warren. The spot right here is now under management that offers a wonderful place that welcomes riders for a bite to eat and something to drink and refreshment. Slow rolling through this little town of Warren was a throwback for me. Reminded me so much of my days spent as a bush pilot in Alaska. These little buildings could house you through the winter if you really needed to, and I love this kind of environment. Taking a little snack break. Actually, it'd be lunch. It's about 1 o'clock. Still got about 40 miles to go up and over Elk Summit. That'll be over 8,000 feet. I'm down here along one of the forks of the Salmon River. Can't remember which one, but extremely remote and a beautiful spot, but it's hot here.
The old Elk Creek Cemetery. While talking with some friends, he placed hands over the barrel of a shotgun. Something caused the gun to fire, blowing off 2 fingers on each hand. Thus the name, Three Finger Smith. Total of 8 people. 1800s, early 1900s. Long climb up to the top of Elk Summit, elevation 8,670 feet.
Here I realized that I had left my pack, water bladder, and Garmin inReach back where I had had lunch and had to retrace my steps. Now I'm short on gas. Fortunately, I ran into Cowboy Don again, and we camped together, and he followed me down to Yellow Pine.
Middle of nowhere. I've coasted almost 4 miles. I'm squeaking the gas to get into Yellow Pine. I made it into Yellow Pine with 2/10 of a gallon left in the tank, running on reserve. I had a liter bottle of fuel in my pack. I didn't have to break it out, so pretty daggone close. Well, Don, you gonna keep trucking?
I am going to keep trucking. I think it better.
I'm gonna take a break, pull out the map, and see what my future looks like. Airfield just over this bridge. Looked like one lining up on downwind to land. Just wet down my gear. It's kind of hot down here in the valley. You wet your gear, makes life good. From Yellow Pine, I left the BDR and headed west back to Vancouver. I camped overnight just west of McCall. I had a flat tire and the tube was ruined. These fellas in Riggins gave me one of theirs. It was wonderful. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of the Washington, Idaho BDR. I look forward to sharing more with you in the future.